So you yesterday seemed to be, you're Mr. Joey Votto.
I'm not Mr.
You are
Mr. Joey
Votto.
Votto is in the hallway there. Blake Murphy is Mr. Joey Votto.
You're Mr. Joey Votto. You were always Mr. Joey Votto.
I like Joey Votto. I think he's one of my favorite players, and I think he's one of the greatest Canadian baseball players of all time.
Yeah, and you know what else you actually used to be, and now you're not? Is
what?
You were Mr. Shohei Ohtani, and you were, I can't believe everybody's not staying up I stay up every night to watch Shohei Ohtani, and now you don't care at all.
I don't care at all?
No, you don't.
I mean, I care. He's
you
an incredible hitter. I don't know.
You don't care at all.
Okay.
We've had zero Shohei Ohtani conversations.
Who cares? He's only hitting. He's just like a great DH. I mean, there's a better hitter in baseball. His name is Aaron Judge, and he's 9 feet tall.
Anyways, back to Mr. Joey Votto.
Shohei is stealing a million bases. That is what's discussed about Shohei Ohtani's season.
Crazy athlete. Anyways, Mr. Joey Votto, Ben Ennis.
Uh-huh.
You seem to think that... So... I haven't been following Joey Votto at all because why would I?
You don't need to.
Yeah, but you seem to be under the impression because are you still taking your son to the baseball game today?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So you're taking your son down to the park and you were nervous about the surge in ticket pricing. And I just agreed with you because you said, oh, the Reds. And I went, oh, yeah. But like what Reds fans are traveling? Like that would be assuming that Reds fans would make the sojourn to go and see Joey Votto.
I think the idea of Joey Votto playing in any of these games, first of all, it would be entirely ceremonial, whatever they do, because he's garbage and done and finished.
Oh, yeah, okay.
No, he's had opportunities. It's not an extent.
Joey Votto, strong language.
He's played like 13 games in Buffalo, and I think like 13 or 14 in Dunedin, and he's been abysmal. Like slightly better in Dunedin than he's been in Buffalo. But Buffalo, he's like got an OPS of like 500. It's horrible in an offensive environment in which like it's not difficult to hit for like I think the league average OPS in the International League is around 800, and he's got an OPS of 500. He's a Hall of Famer. Anyways, so...
Yeah, 580 OPS.
Yeah,
so in 82 at-bats.
Yeah, it's bad.
He's got 14
How many
hits.
strikeouts, too?
That doesn't show on the minor league baseball page. So I'm not on the baseball reference. I just went to the first link.
I have it up. Okay.
No, but he's got...
I have it. 20 strikeouts, 7 walks, and 20 strikeouts in 39... at-bats.
So, yeah, he has more strikeouts than hits.
Yeah, he's been horrible, abysmal, awful, and I guess there's time for him to figure it out, but who cares? There was a time earlier in the season where you had Daniel Vogelbach on your roster, and Joey Votto, he wasn't good last year for the Reds, but he hit home runs. Yeah. There was a scenario where it was like, oh, maybe this guy could actually factor in a part-time role as a DH against righties.
Yeah.
That time has passed because the Blue Jays are they're not about wins and losses anymore. And Joey Votto keeps stepping on bats and hurting his back, and he's 40 years old and can't hit minor league pitching. So the only reason he could appear in a major league game at this point would be ceremonial.
But
if it's ceremonial, what better ceremony than against the only other franchise he's ever played for in the Cincinnati Reds? Like there would be some symmetry to me if they were going to do it. You can still do it. Also, the Reds are not legitimately in the playoff mix. If you're going to do something ceremonial like that, you don't want to do it like, hey, the Yankees are like a game up on the Orioles and here comes Joey Votto.
You think it's like a fantasy league where the other team gets pissed off if you don't put your starters in?
No, I think you want to keep the competitive integrity of the playoff race. No, I think yes, 100%. Are you kidding me? Everybody across all pro sports says the same thing. Like when you're an uncompetitive team, you have to do your best in these games against teams that are still in playoff mixes. But there's plenty of games against crappy teams. I mean, they have another series against the Angels after this too.
Yeah.
You could do it there. But, like, the Reds would have made some sense. Like, Trent Rosecrans could have written his little piece on Joey Votto.
You're a jerk today.
Why?
You're like, he's just ripped Joey Votto. He's garbage. He's like, his little piece. We're doing our little podcast. Probably a billion more people read that guy's column than they've ever listened to our show.
I didn't mean that to. No, I was going to say he's the Joey Votto biographer. Like he's got the finger on the pulse. That was not meant to belittle.
See, you are Mr. Joey Votto. You know who the Mr. Joey Votto is of the Reds.
Well, because he has a very unique name as well.
But he's
in the city, so he might be listening.
Anyways, Mr. Joey Votto, Ben Ennis. So you really thought that he was coming up. Now that I'm looking at these numbers, here's my main case against it. The young guys are actually performing adequately.
Yeah,
like. Even La Perfido, who has been borderline unplayable, hit the bomb.
Mm-hmm.
He's won them a game,
mm-hmm.
right? Like,
Sure.
+1 WAR, as I like to say.
Yeah.
That's how that works. That's how it should work, anyways. Like, I'm trying to think of the young guy that you would take out of there to play him right now.
Funny, like
Who?
No offense to like Stuart Baroa or Davis Schneider,
Burrow
who's been
would be the
Davis
one.
Schneider has been
know.
abysmal since June 1st.
Dude, I saw some quotes from Davis Schneider. Our buddy Keegan Matheson wrote a good piece on him, and I felt bad. I was like, damn, man.
Yeah.
Because for a minute there, he would have convinced himself that he was a real bona fide major leaguer. Like, this thing was going to happen for him. And I don't think it's happening. I think we now know pretty definitively that it's not a thing.
Yeah. If he didn't have the equity of the first go around last year and starting at Fenway and then continuing and then like having the little slowdown, but then again at the end of the year becoming that guy. And then at the beginning of this year, if he didn't have that, any other prospect with his pedigree or lack thereof, with this type of run since literally June 1st.
Yeah.
It's middle of August, would not be in the major leagues anymore.
Well, it's weird because at the beginning of the year, they were reluctant to play him.
I know.
They didn't believe in
they've
him.
aired on the other side of things.
That's what I mean, is like the guy was hot.
Yeah.
And they kept sitting him down, and he was arguably the team's best hitter.
It's like they're selling us like, you said we wanted to play. Okay, here you go.
Yeah. And now,
he's starting sparingly, though.
Yeah,
he's really not
now
playing
the starts
very much.
are, I will say that whenever I'm looking at the betting lines and I'm deciding to make wagers.
Do you do that?
Yeah. When they've got the like Schneider, Loperfido, Severin bottom three.
Yeah. You can't even say Servin, right?
Yeah. I always say Severin. Yeah. I've never said Servin.
Respect the major league catcher.
You're the one
Brian Servin.
Anyways, Mr. Joey Votto over here called him garbage. I just mispronounced his name. It's an automatic first 5 under.
Yes.
Yeah. It's like, click. Yeah. I'll live with the results of I'll deal with the consequences. I can sleep at night knowing that I faded that team. So here's my last thing with the Votto stuff, then we'll move on. Is simply, I wonder what the actual value is, or if there's a real tangible value to giving him that kind of a send-off. Like, do you think other players around Major League Baseball care at all? Because I feel like that becomes a narrative where they're like, oh, the Blue Jays, they were first class all the way and they gave Joey Votto the proper send-off. And I was thinking about that today going, I just can't imagine one baseball player ever watching a Joey Votto highlight as he's like striking out 4 times in a row in the Major League level, or maybe he gets a hit and you're watching the highlights later and you go, oh, what a classy organization.
No,
does
it's
that
purely
matter?
for the
Purely
fans,
right?
It's,
yeah, exactly.
That's it. And it's, I know not you, but there's a huge swath of
No,
the
I would
fan
want to
base.
see him. I would want to go say goodbye to Joey Votto.
Like, maybe as craven as, hey, man, you can actually sell a Joey Votto Blue Jays jersey.
No, I don't think you could do that.
Why not? If he's a Blue Jay.
Yeah.
If he's a Blue Jay, he's not. Now, you could buy, I guess he did appear in a spring training game. Do they even have the names on the back of those jerseys? Anyways, if he appears even for like one at bat, again, everything would be ceremonial. I could see a scenario as a give back to the fans. And I say craven like it's a bad thing, but like, and as a cash grab, like to sell a Joey Votto jersey, to just have him literally not even finish an entire game.
Well, now I know that when you sell stuff in the stadium, goes to the team.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
So if you were selling Joey Votto stuff in the team shop and you were selling it around and people really wanted it, there would be a benefit. I think that
goes into the Anthony Santander fund. That'd be good.
That's what I'm saying is buy all your stuff at the J shop. Buy all your stuff at the J shop if you want Anthony Santander. That's all. That's all.
That's all.
If you don't want Anthony Santander,
that's fine, yeah.
Buy it from MLB.com like a non-supporter of the club. But if you really care, then you'll buy it in the stadium like a good fan. I'm just trying to picture who would buy a Joey Votto Blue Jays shirt.
Lots of people.
Why?
Again,
well, you're Mr. Joey Votto, so you tell me.
I don't buy things. I get things for free. So it's like I'm a bad person to ask because I don't like to. I just bought the merch at the show yesterday. So that's like I won't be spending money on things for another month at least.
It was $100 whole, and you're like, oh God, dude! The whole time we're standing in the merch line, he was going back and forth about the price of the hat. It was infuriating. I had to leave you twice because I couldn't stand the entire conversation. Just being like,
whatever.
Should I do?
I bought it.
Yeah, I know, but you made it seem as though you were making like a real financial decision. It's like,
expensive.
yeah. Holy
$50 for a hat. It's very expensive.
Holy
and
smokes.
a shirt.
Yeah.
100
Anyway.
combined. Anyways, no, there's a lot
How
of
will
people.
you ever recover? Destitute.
It'd be difficult. No, there's a lot of people that would buy a Joey Votto Blue Jays jersey, right? That's
I don't think so.
It's the only Canadian franchise. It's the franchise he grew up watching and idolizing and watching them win a couple of World Series in the early 90s. And he's one of the top 5 greatest Canadian baseball players of all time. Like, I don't discount the possibility of many people buying Joey Votto jerseys. And for years to come, you go down to Rogers Center seeing people in Votto jerseys.
All right. I think it's being overstated. I just think if you're our age, which is the age of people who have like watched Joey Votto's career and he means something to you, like you and Blake Murphy, the like super fans, you know that this is just a ceremonial thing and you won't actually have memories of him as a Blue Jay. And so you're not really buying the jersey or the shirt.
I don't know. To me, I think it's got like, I don't know, niche, like kind of cool. Like, hey, remember Joey Votto had that thing? It depends on how they would roll it out, too.
Yeah.
Like, imagine Joey Votto.
Imagine.
They did the thing.
Imagine it. Hold on. Everyone get into the spot. Ben's about to paint us a picture. All right, paint the picture.
So what was it? Zach Wheeler, I think, grooved him a fastball in spring training, right? Like, imagine. Yeah, I think it was against the Phillies. Anyways, imagine you're in this non-competitive game against a team that's also not making the playoffs. Joey Votto gets his ovation as he takes the field.
Wait, now
and
he's
then
having moments like.
Well, but yeah, of course.
Okay, yeah.
Once they announce him, like as he comes out of the dugout, you don't think that would be a moment?
That home run was actually worth 12 wins in the win column. The Jays are going to the playoffs.
What if he got grooved another middle fastball, took it out, and then on the next half inning on defense, substituted out? That's the end of Joey Votto's career. He gets one moment as a Toronto Blue Jay, and then rides off into the
flock to the shops. Votto, they scream.
You can't. It's not a plausible scenario.
They chant.
I could see it being
fine.
A possible scenario.
Yeah, sure. I'll give it to you. Anyway, so there's been no Bo Bichette for a very long time now. And I was thinking about this over the weekend, how, okay, the Jays haven't been, racking up the wins nonstop, and they've played a weaker schedule than they did in the first half of the season, right? Like, we went over this last time you were on Good Hour. They've been playing some bad teams, so it's like they wax the Angels, right? Where you go, oof.
Take that, Angels.
Well, Angels were actually a nice reminder of what the Jays aren't, which is completely hopeless.
Yes.
Like, there's just no point in the Angels anymore. No. They will never win. They're done.
No, they got Kevin Pillar DHing for
them.
Man, it's like, if you're going to have Kevin Pillar, let him play the outfield.
No, you and I do hopeless franchise rankings every year, and I actually think that it's impossible to make a case for anyone jumping over. Not even the Carolina Panthers, where it's like the Carolina Panthers are the number one depressing because have you seen some of the Caleb Williams highlights? Yeah, it's going to be a problem. For years to come. Bryce Young, he's not
tiny
going,
little fella.
Yeah, I was going to say we're not going to go like which one of these guys is better 5 years from now. I'm pretty sure it's. If Bryce Young has one highlight that's as nice as any of the two...
doesn't he have the one where he had a rushing? He had a rush last year, like 20 yards.
No, it's actually... there's no amount of... Like, there's nothing they could attach to Bryce Young that would get the Bears to trade them Caleb Williams.
Correct.
They could be like, here's what we're going to do, and we're going to give you part of our revenue share. We're going to give you first-round picks, and the Bears would be like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's legendary stuff.
So that's the most depressing one, but you're not hopeless. You're not like the Angels where it's just, you're done. You're done. Shohei Ohtani, when he walked away from you, it was over.
And now the Mike Trout contract is like...
horrible, and Rendon is out there hitting in the 9-hole for $10 billion, hating baseball. No, they're actually so bad. So the Jays got to beat up on them. But... I do you agree with this, that the Jays, the vibe around them, part of it has to do with just how great Vladdy's been playing, and some resurgences from like Kirk, and I think that Varsho's been better, and Springer had a moment where he was heating up, then it cooled down, whatever. Has the Bo absence made you feel like, oh, next year they should bring him back, and this will feel a lot better? Have you missed him, or has it made you feel like, oh, you know what, maybe they don't need this guy, or that they should be turning him into other things? Because... to me, it reminds me a little bit of when the Leafs lost Mitch Marner. where he was gone, and all of a sudden things started to feel like they made a little bit more sense. And I know baseball is very different, and it's not like there's no line combinations, but I mean it in the sense of it feels a little similar to me where I didn't miss Marner, and I don't really miss Bo.
I've missed Bo all season long, even when he was here.
Yeah, okay.
Because we haven't seen Bo.
Your take, by the way, is probably the right one. And by the way, this isn't a you lose Bo for nothing situation. It's the same thing with Marner, which is I just look at Bo right now and go, this makes the most sense to trade
he's
you.
been awful.
Yeah.
He's been not helpful for 1 second all season long. He's been literally one of the worst offensive players in baseball when he was on the field.
But even from I hate that I keep saying this, but from the vibe standpoint.
The vibes, I don't know. The vibes are pretty immaculate when he was killing it.
But that's my point, is that...
And he's killed it his entire career except for this year.
But bringing him back now without a contract and having the risk of... it feels a little Stroman-y in the final year where you're going, this isn't good to have you around.
Oh, I would absolutely be exploring. If you can bring him back and then he can look like his normal self and then that satiates the potential trade partners.
No, I don't think you can do that.
What? You don't think you can bring him back this year?
No, I don't think you can bring him back without a contract extension.
Oh, yeah, no. I'm saying I miss the Bo Bichette that was leading the American League in hits 2 consecutive years and almost a third. But
that's not what I'm talking about.
Yeah. But would I trade him this offseason? Of course.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, if you could get like the normal Bo Bichette return, which should be exorbitant. But yeah, if you're not getting that because people are like, hey, is he still the same guy? Like, how much of that was injury? How much of that is like, oh, maybe, he's having an offensive downturn? It would make no sense considering his age. But like, what happened? How do you explain what happened this past season?
All I know is that, and granted, I haven't been having as many Blue Jays conversations with people because of the state of the franchise and its post
gestures
well,
everywhere.
It's now after the deadline. There was a lot during deadline time. Then afterwards, we're kind of in, this is unfamiliar territory. Blue Jays been in the playoffs. I was
saying it, man. Yeah, like it's been, 2019 was the last. But even then, we had like Vlad showed up.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It was a way more interesting second half of the season. This is the first time since really 2018, I would say, that it was like this non-compelling from a narrative standpoint and from a things to really watch for.
Yeah.
It's not, we're really not used to this. So part of it is that there's fewer conversations, but I haven't really heard from too many people being like, wow, you get this version of Vladdy, this version of Kirk, this version of Varsho, and then you bring Bo back, and, I could kind of see it.
But that is true.
Sure, but what I'm saying is I actually do feel better about 2025 than I felt a month ago. And it's mostly Vladdy, right? It is. It's just, it's mostly Vladdy. I don't think that they're going to be a World Series contender. I still believe what I believed before, which is that they should be taking 2 steps back to take a step forward. They should be looking at the landscape. They should be looking at the value of the pitchers. They've just got, to me, too many holes to fill. But I have felt more enthusiastic about some of the peripheral pieces, the bench guys being actual, possible contributing.
So many great bench guys.
No, but that's it. They have a bunch of good bench guys, but now they actually have a little bit of depth of prospects where they could make a trade or two to get some major league talent. The Bowden Francis thing has been super encouraging, just from like hey, wow, you actually might. He and Yariel Rodriguez have both been good enough where you're going, okay, well, if you're the 4-5, that might do the trick.
Yeah, and Jake Bloss is there's no pressure on him to be in the rotation next year.
So all I'm saying is that there is reasons for more optimism than there was a month ago. And yet, part of my core underlying feeling has never been when I've thought about, man, is Bowden Francis a thing for next year more than I've thought about Bo? And maybe that's because I've already broken up with Bo. Yeah. I'm already no, they're trading him more than it is anything else.
Yeah, I think you're having a bit of a short memory when it comes to what he is as a player, right?
Because, but no, I'm not discounting what he can be. I just think that given who he is, the fact that they paid the guy ahead of time, that they were like, we're not taking you out of arbitration. We're going to pay you adequately, all these different things. And then what we saw this year, and then some of the stuff that has been reported about him.
Continually.
Yeah, I don't think it makes sense for an organization that has had blips in the vibes to bring him back next year without a contract and be telling him, play for your money. Dance for your supper. I don't think it works.
Yeah. I'm sure that if he is still part of the plans for next season, if they're indeed going down the extension path with Vlad, you're at least having conversations with Bo. I think it's way more difficult to figure out the number for Bo than it is for Vlad, where, there's comparables at first base and yada, yada, yada. And it also, like, every indication is that Vlad is more amenable to a potential extension. And everybody, it seems to indicate that Bo Bichette, as soon as he's contractually eligible, will depart the Toronto Blue Jays. That's part of it. I think that's also what's painting your mental picture of Bo Bichette as well, because there's been so many breadcrumbs that he's just like not enamored with the franchise, that he's thinking about his next destination.
Yeah, it feels like they're in the pre-breakup phase. They say, like, if once a girl starts to make a list about you in her phone, like the pros and cons list, you're done.
Well, yeah.
And
I could have told you that.
I think Bo Bichette has already opened up the Notes app and started to put the pros and cons down. And the cons are probably outweighing
The thing is, and if that's the case, and you can't really afford to lose him for nothing.
That's the thing.
But
they're in a really tough spot.
Yeah, but also that guy, he's not going to get what he wants in the free agent market if he doesn't dance for his dinner.
No take has aged more poorly than you can't trade Bo Bichette for Gavin Lux.
Yeah. Yes. Gavin Lux is on a
had
hot
they
streak,
done that
for sure.
Had they done that early in the season, they would be thrilled.
It's not a straight up situation though, but like as part of the equation, sure. You would trade Bo Bichette for Gavin Lux straight up?
Yeah.
No, that's insane.
Why not?
That's not so.
Dude, this is the thing. Bo Bichette going into this offseason, this is the problem that they have. They want to win in 2025. That's clear.
Yeah.
This front office knows.
Win and win. Like, they can make a wild card spot.
Yeah, that's it, obviously.
Yeah.
They need to win games in 2025. They need to show that they are a credible playoff threat, that this was the right gamble, right?
Yeah.
But trading Bo Bichette now and acquiring anything back of consequence is going to be really difficult, especially to like help the roster today. If you are taking back pieces, the other organizations are not giving you what you once were getting, especially since he's like, what, is he going to come back this year and prove anything? Like, does it even matter? Like, how many plate appearances is he going to get at this point? Like, is there going to be enough time for him to even rewrite the narrative?
He can play a month, like he could, or close to the month of September.
Okay, yeah. So if he put together that final month like he did in 2021, then you go, or was it
22?
Yeah, again, I never get that right. Anyway, if he puts together that, then maybe it does convince some teams, and maybe it does boost the value a little bit. But ultimately, I think that there's going to be a pretty strong case that they'll look at it and say, well, we kind of need to start him on the roster next season because we can't trade him for a bad trade pack. You're just basically back in the same situation. But that to me would be you're not actually valuing team chemistry. You're trying to squeeze every little bit of value out of this guy in a trade when in actuality, like the gain that you could get from him hitting well and then trying to move him, and then even that decision becomes even more difficult because then all of a sudden you're good and Bo Bichette is good. Oh, yeah. And then you're like, well, now we can't trade him.
No, yeah. If he's on the roster next year and they're in a playoff spot, they're not trading him at the deadline.
That's what I'm saying. And so I just kind of feel like you have to make the decision during the offseason.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And I think they will do their darndest to try and find a trade package that makes sense for them, that puts them in a position to have win-now pieces for Bo Bichette because they see the writing on the wall. And even if, you do believe in the vibes thing, like, I don't think they're going to do it with both. Although, like, I
don't want to overstate the vibes thing. I just think it's very real that having a malcontent in your locker room.
And if we can all agree that Bo Bichette is maybe a little more temperamental than most, like, how do you think he would feel if Vladimir Guerrero Jr. got everything he wanted in a decade-long extension and he was not?
Yeah.
Yeah, and felt like he was, because I think the Blue Jays have done lots to try and make Bo Bichette happy, but it seems pretty clear in all the reporting that he feels not that way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, he would be like, oh, again, you're going to give Vlad $300 million? And, like, we're not even going to talk this offseason? Yeah, forget it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that being a contributing factor to wanting to trade him this offseason.
And to continue the Marner parallel, Marner didn't want to go anywhere. He was like, no, I'm not leaving.
Yeah.
Bo Bichette, they're like, hey, would you? He's like, yeah, I've already packed.
Yeah.
There's nothing on my walls. I've already called everybody that I got my security deposit back. We're good to go here. Yeah. Like, he's not going to fight you, by the way. Gavin Lux, last 2 months, 937 OPS in July.
Yeah. But we're talking
9/11
about
OPS and
Bo Bichette,
August.
twice American League leader in hits.
Sure.
Playing shortstop. Gavin Lux, as we learned in spring training, they'd rather have Mookie Betts play shortstop than Gavin Lux.
Yeah, he's a second baseman.
Yeah. Blue Jays have lots of those. They got Spencer
I was going to
Horwitz.
say, if you have 8 second basemen, do you have one?
And they got Will Wagner.
Yeah.
Where are all these second basemen going to play?
Yeah. For
How
Buffalo.
about somebody play third base for this team? That'd be nice.
Well, I got to tell you, I just want Addison Barger to.
Yeah, it's not happening. But yeah, he's
the
the guy.
arm is so
of course.
nice,
and
man.
plus he's the one guy with the power tool. Well, Low Profito apparently has it too, and we saw it once. But he's the guy that would make the most sense if he ever put it together. It just has not happened.
He's got to me though. He's got the Brandon Drury thing that I've talked to you about before.
Oh, baseball face.
He's got big baseball face, big like baseball look.
Yeah.
And he like looks like he's better than he is. He's got the long hair. He's got swagger when he throws the baseball from third to first. You're like, whoa, that's like, what was that on the radar gun? I bet you he sticks around in baseball longer than he should based on his baseball face.
Sure. Well, I mean, he does have, he has raw measurables, right? Like he's got good measurables.
He's a ball player.
Exit velocity. I don't know if you remember when they first released that swing speed statistic. Yeah. It was Vlad, and you know who was second? Yeah. It was Addison Barger.
Yeah.
Second fastest swing speed on the Blue Jays.
Yeah. That's because he's never making contact with the baseball, so he's with no resistance to the swing speed. It's just all swing speed.
But when it makes contact,
it's so pretty, dude. That's the thing. When he's doing stuff, it's so aesthetically pleasing that he's the ultimate. If you put together like a highlight reel package of this baseball player, you'd be like, yeah, so that's
100-mile-an-hour arm.
Yeah, that's it. You'd go
light tower power from the left side,
dude. And
like in theory, also an ability to work a count and take a walk. I mean, he did that in Buffalo.
I'm not going to sell my Addison Barger stock. I'm holding on to it. I'm just going to let it go down to zero and be worthless, and then have it like 5 years from now and be open.
Diamond hands.
Yeah, I have to. I have no other choice because I'm just that invested. Every time he does a thing, I'm like, oof, that looks damn good. I want more of that. Who's your, like, you same guy?
Yeah, I don't know.
Out of these young bench pieces that are, because again, these are mostly, I think some of them have proven that they're major leaguers.
Yeah, but what does that mean? This Blue Jays team needs higher upside guys than...
No. There's no question. Again, this is a two things can be true conversation. The Blue Jays should not start next season with Ernie Clement and Spencer Horwitz starting baseball games for them and Davis Schneider. And
I think Spencer Horwitz can be at the bottom of your order.
I think he's like the most, I'm actually a Major League Baseball player of the guys.
Yeah.
Clement, too.
Yeah, but Clement, I want starting less than
Sure,
Horwitz.
But I'm just saying in terms of the actual, if you were talking about floor, it's Horowitz 1, Clement 2.
Yeah, I guess so. And I need to see more of Will Wagner. Will Wagner feels like, he's like Spencer Horwitz light.
Yeah, he looks
like
Spencer Horwitz.
You know what's better than one Spencer Horwitz? Two Spencer Horwitzes.
Two Spencer Horwitz.
Who hit from the left side with not a ton of power.
Both great baseball names.
Yeah, Spencer Horwitz, Will Wagner.
Yeah, those are both guys that were designed to play baseball.
Yeah, neither.
How do you do that? That's such a good job by those parents.
Yeah, neither
guy.
Well,
one dad was a baseball player who named his son after him who was a baseball player. So that makes sense.
Spencer Horwitz's dad was in baseball as well, too. He was, and I think he worked for the Mets in like their PR department. Anyways.
Big win for Spencer Horwitz that he was always Spencer and that he didn't end up as Spenny, you know, because like that's tough. You had no shot as Spenny. Yeah. If guys were like, "Hey, Spenny," you're like, "Oof, he's done."
That's true.
Yeah.
Anyways, they're the same dude. They can capably play second base defensively, but nobody's winning a Gold Glove there.
Yeah.
And they don't hit for a bunch of power, but they make contact and can work a count. So neat. That's cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if we need two on the,
but still,
on the same team.
Barger is the one where you're like, you buy it and you're like, this could be something.
Well, it's something different.
Yeah.
That's it, right? It's like there is, maybe not with the glove, but with the arm, like the possibility of plus defense.
He's got Matt Chapman on.
And he's got the power.
Yeah.
Right? Like if he could just make contact a little bit more.
Just a little bit more.
Him and Joey Loperfido need to go to contact school this offseason. I don't know if they do that, but just figure out how to make contact more often.
Here's the thing. the Loperfido trade. Given that Bloss has real value.
And Will Wagner looks okay.
And he's, exactly. And it is just a renting Kikuchi situation. And I know that everyone was like, what a trade package, because it was. But watching Loperfido, I'm like,
The team that wants to win a World Series this year, they put that guy in the deal.
Yeah. That's all I have to say about that. Barger's my stock guy. Also, I'd like to say this too: is if you're buying stock, I've repurchased stock in Alejandro Kirk.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's been better recently.
He's regained his presence to me at the dish of he's
Line
not
drives.
an easy out. Yeah. Where it's just he's going to battle at the dish. He's going to frustrate you, and that strike zone is difficult, and then he runs into him.
Well, and I think what we've learned since he was called up and he was great with the hit tool is like the defense, maybe not throwing out base stealers, but like the amount of strikes he does steal on a start-to-start basis I was going to say it's immeasurable, but they actually have a way of measuring it, and he's quite good at that.
Yeah, I was never, I don't care how good he is at framing pitches. Like, I know it's valuable, and
Extremely.
Yes, but if you came up and you were supposed to be this awesome hit tool guy, and then all of a sudden everybody's just only talking about your defense, it just gets me to the point of like eye rolling where I'm like, like this team's problem is that they haven't been able to score runs. They need guys who score runs.
I think Alejandro Kirk at the bottom of your order, hitting right next to Spencer Horwitz, like maybe 8-9. Now you got a baseball team. Anthony Santander in the middle of that lineup.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Alex Bregman playing third base. Probably not going to happen.
Yeah, they're not getting Santander.
Or Bregman.
Yeah.
But you need somebody. You need two somebodies.
I don't like Bregman. I don't want to have another Astros guy to root for. Like, I don't want to have the old, aged Astros. Like, we collecting all the old cheaters after they're all washed up. Like, no, thanks. I'm good on that.
Yeah.
Like, I am. I really am.